Welcome back to Not So Grand Garage. It is bright and early in the morning, getting ready to head to work. It's a balmy 29 degrees out, and as you can hear in the background, cab heater's running. Inside of the truck's probably 75 or so, real nice. But yeah, anyways, so we are going to be talking about one of my biggest complaints about driving these old trucks, and we're going to get right into that today and do a little testing for you. So let's get at it. First up, all four doors have new weather stripping, so got good air seals, and that has made a big difference in this problem. But yeah, as you can see, the interior is mostly stripped. I've got one door panel on back there, and the carpet and factory carpet padding is still in the truck. Now there's no sound deadening to speak of in these trucks. There was a little bit in the floor pans on the driver and passenger side, which I had to take up to do rust repair, but I can verify that that did absolutely nothing as far as sound control in these cabs. So what we're going to be looking at is just how loud it is to be driving down the road in these trucks, just on a day-to-day basis, get out on the highway, stuff like that. My biggest issue is I can't carry on a conversation when we're doing 70 mile an hour, 75 down the interstate. So we're gonna see if we can fix that. First up, we've got a Reed R8050 decibel meter. So we're gonna set it up on the tripod here, and we're gonna go for a drive. I gotta get into work, and we'll just see on average what kind of noise we're seeing inside this cab at 50, 55, 60, 65 mile an hour. Just to give you an idea of how loud it is. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with driving a loud truck. This thing's, you know, got 4-inch turbo back or downpipe back exhaust on it. No mufflers, no nothing. It's going to be loud, I understand that. My issue is road noise, not necessarily exhaust noise, because there's a lot of sheet metal, a lot of vibration, and it's a 1-ton truck, so it rides rougher, so you get a lot more panel resonance and such with each bump in the road. Tire noise is also a big issue with these 37s, these mud terrains. They're noisy. It just is what it is. But yeah, we'll do some testing on it, and we're gonna see what we can do to fix it. At an idle 70, 71 decibels. Approximately 81 decibels at between 55 and 60. We'll take it on up to 65, 70-ish and see what it's at there. Between 82 and 84 decibel, which is pretty loud, and I'm having to talk pretty loud just so you guys can hear me clearly. But yeah, it's not a quiet and comfortable ride. I don't expect it to be super quiet. I know what I'm driving. But at the same time, it would be nice to be able to carry on a conversation without having to scream at the passengers. On the Governor, we're at almost 90 decibels in the cab. In the upper RPM range, say running 75 to 80, we're holding steady at almost 85 decibels. It's not ideal. So I've got a plan for fixing that, or at least making it substantially better. So when we get back to the house tonight, we should have a very large order sitting on the front porch, and we'll take a look and see what we've got going. So we're back home from work, and as you can tell, we've got an interior noise issue in this truck. And yeah, how are we gonna fix that? Well, first up, I reached out to, in my opinion, is pretty well the best in the game when it comes to sound mitigation, especially in automotive applications. And that is Second Skin. And yeah, I've used their stuff back when I was in car audio stuff. Damplifier Pro, their luxury liner, and some other goodies. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, these guys are pretty well the best in the business. Made here in the States, and yeah, their quality is second to none. So we're gonna get into this. We're gonna open up these boxes we got in, see what we've got to work with, and yeah, I think we're gonna be able to take care of this, no problem. So first up, we've got the first part of this multi-layer setup I'll be running. This is their Damplifier Pro. It is a butyl matte with foil liner. It is nice and heavy. It is non-toxic. It is heat resistant. It is fire resistant as well. As you can see, Second Skin logo all over the surface, so you know it's legit. And, me a nice little installation tool as well. We've got 80 square feet of Damplifier Pro. Now this is the product that goes down first on the floor, the inside of the doors, the back wall, and the firewall will all get this treatment. 100% coverage. Now that's going to take the ting sound from let's see here, that rattly resonating sound, and that's going to give it a much more solid thud when you tap on it. It's going to tighten everything up. It will also seal the floor, and yeah, it is a great base. Next box, we've got some goodies. Looks like they sent me some merch. Nice little tray here. Again, shout out to you guys at Second Skin. Thanks for hooking me up. Got double-sided tape for insulation. I'll get into this box here and see what we've got going there. This is their MegaZorbe foam. It is a sound absorption layer. This will be going on the doors. This is hydrophobic, meaning it will not absorb moisture, so we don't have to worry about it causing rust, things like that. And it absorbs noise. So we're going to be deadening the rattle in the floors, the doors, and everything with our Damplifier Pro. In the doors, we'll go with the MegaZorbe. That's going to absorb road noise and any interior noise. So it's going to reduce resonance in the door. Then next up, the real fun part is their Luxury Liner Pro. We've got 3 cases here. This will do the entire floor. And, whew, my goodness, the back wall and the firewall. So I'm going to try to pull this out of the box and let you take a look at it. And here we have it. It is a nice thick foam with a vinyl layer. It is extremely heavy, and this will be our main sound absorption layer for the floor, the back wall, and the firewall. But yeah, I've got a lot of work to do, and this is going to be spread out over several days. So I'm going to, while the sun's still up and it's relatively nice out, I'm going to go on and get a jump start on the passenger side floor of the truck. But I will bring you guys back when I pull the truck in come tomorrow night. I'll take the driver's seat out, pull the carpet the rest of the way out, get everything cleaned and prepped, and start doing the Damplifier Pro layer on the floor, the firewall, the back wall, and all the doors. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how this works out and how much of a difference it makes. So as you can see, truck is in the shop, and I'm a bit further along than where I left you off. And as you can see, I've got about half of the cab done. This is 100% coverage, or pretty close to it, of the Damplifier Pro. And mainly I just wanted to get a good start on it and see just how smoothly it was going to go, because it has been a little bit since I've worked with this stuff. So I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to do a reasonable job before I picked the camera up. So just for a comparison's sake, the front door here is done as far as the Damplifier Pro goes. The rear door is not. Pretty substantial difference in just a door, and that is just a single layer, full coverage on the inside of the outer skin. And yeah, that's no sound absorption material yet either. So once we get all of this done, it's going to get layered on the firewall, the floor. The back wall is going to get Luxury Liner Pro, which is the mass loaded vinyl and insulated foam layer. And then the doors will get their own MegaZorbe foam layer sound absorption material on the inside as well. I may put some in strategic places under the door panel. I'm also, if I have enough extra, I will be doing Damplifier Pro around the speakers and a couple areas that just have larger flat open areas behind the door panel. But anyways, enough talk. It is 20 degrees outside, so I've got the pellet stove cranked up, and I've got a little heater in here. So I'm going to close the cab up, turn this little heater on, and get to work. First up, I'm going along, spraying down all the surfaces with glass cleaner and just wiping them down, getting all the dust and stuff off of the metal and the paint. Now I will go over this with a heat gun, make sure everything's good and dry before I go sticking down any of the material. But I'm gonna clean all this area up and the middle of the cab. I'm gonna continue at the middle of the cab, work my way back, and then work my way back up front. Slowly but surely. Once you've got your surface prepped, clean and dry, that is the key. This stuff will not stick to dirt, won't stick to anything wet either, so just be sure everything's good, clean and dry. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to stick really well, and which this stuff is very sticky, but I am also in a shop that's only 35-ish degrees, and this stuff is not fun to work with when it's cold. Another reason I've got the heat gun in here, because once I lay sheets out, I like to warm them up a little bit so I can really get that adhesive on the back side pressed down onto the metal good and firm. It seems to help with it being so cold. But like I said, I'm going to fire up the little space heater in the cab because I've got it closed up in here. But yeah, now what I like to do is we start out with our full sheets, and I like to just lay them out before I do anything and kind of see what you've got to work with. If you've got multiple steep angles coming off each direction that one sheet is going to cover, with these being foil backed, it's going to fight you. So it's a good idea to either cut these down in strips when you hit multiple angles like this, or you can cut the top layer of the aluminum once you get over to those edges, and it will let this open up and lay flat. You will have a gap here in the material though, so you'll have to go back and cover that up if you're going for 100% coverage. But yeah, so I'm also running a fairly significant overlap. It's not necessary, but that side of the cab sees quite a bit of heat with the exhaust running up right underneath it, and the turbo downpipe runs right underneath the floor there. So I went with pretty heavy overlap and coverage on that side. I won't be doing that as much in the middle and the driver's side. But yeah, let's get at it. As you can see, it's a little time consuming, but you got to take your time with the roller. Firm pressure, get it down good into all the grooves and indentions in the floor. Make sure you don't have any air bubbles. Take your time, because the more time you spend and the better this lays out, the better this material is going to perform. So take your time and do it right. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to lay another piece in here up towards this heater. We'll work around the heater a little bit up towards the back wall. As you can see, each one of these covers a fair bit. Already a pretty substantial difference, just one piece down. So I'm gonna keep at it and hopefully get this whole floor and the back of the cab knocked out tonight. Another little side note, while working with the Damplifier or the Damplifier Pro, any of this aluminum backed stuff, it's a very wise thing to do to wear gloves while you're working with it. The backing, that aluminum backing, is very sharp on the edges. And yeah, I don't happen to have any gloves currently, so I'm just being extra careful. I've caught my hand a couple of times doing the first half of the cab. So yeah, just something to pay attention to. And would be a good idea to get some cut resistant gloves before you start on this process. Also, this is the roller from Second Skin, and it works really well. It's nice and narrow, helps get down the grooves. You can also use the end of the handle to help get down into tight corners and stuff like that, which yeah, it's pretty handy, worth going on and throwing that in the shopping cart. I don't think it's very expensive, but yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna keep at it. So next up, we've got to go around this heater. So we're going to cut strips out of our Damplifier Pro. and work it in all around the heater. Now, this stuff can handle a fair amount of heat, but I don't want to get too close up underneath this unit because that bottom creates quite a bit of heat out the exhaust side. So yeah, as far as cutting the stuff goes, you can use good scissors or something like that, but I've found a good sharp razor blade, like a box cutter type, works really well. Just be sure to have a few blades on hand because you're going to wear them out fairly quick. But yeah, this works the best for me because I tried the scissors, it gums them up. You can make it work, but this just works out better as far as I'm concerned. I got the next piece laid down. As you can see, I did not do these sides yet on either side. But next up, instead of just continuing up this and up, I'm going to do a piece horizontally across here, up as close as I can to right here, but letting me get down into these pockets here, like I did over here. And when I do the top piece over it, I will overlap this a fair bit and enclose that opening. But that lets me get a good tight fit into these indentions in the sheet metal. Then when we get down here, we'll piece this section together. We'll do this here, which will let us get real tight down into these corners and into these areas. Then we'll come over and down and overlap the floor piece. And that gives us the best coverage as far as I'm concerned. And it makes sure we don't waste any material. So once I get all the little cut pieces and such, I will come back. I'm sure I will have some smaller cut pieces that I won't have a use for. And that's what I'll cover these areas with. That way we're maximizing the material use and minimizing the waste, because this stuff is not cheap. But yeah, you definitely don't want to waste material. So take your time, plan it out, have an idea. I am not very good at planning things out. I'm better at just, I get a picture in my head and I just do it. That's just how I work. And it typically works out better for me that way. If I sit down and try and plan something, then I'll be lost in the plan. Whereas, yeah, and nothing will get done. But yeah, at least it's a puzzle, so piece it together accordingly. That way you don't waste a bunch of material. So went back over everything with the heat gun, got it good and warm, worked it down good and hard with the roller. Then I took the handle of the roller, worked these corners down, and then went around the edge real good with the roller. So we got a nice tight fit, and yeah, that's what you're after. You want this to conform to the sheet metal as best you can and get real good adhesion. That way it does its job like it's supposed to. But yeah, now I'm going to piece this area together here, and then we'll work on over, do the rest of this corner, do this up here, and then we'll start working forward. You can tell, took the jacket off. It may be 35, 40 degrees in the shop, but it is warm in the cab of this truck. But yeah, anyways, this stuff's time consuming, but again, just take your time, do it right. You'll appreciate the effort. Now here's what I was talking about when it comes to multiple angles on the same piece. I want an overlap here, but I've got multiple angles to force this down into, which it's not going to happen. This aluminum's going to fight you, and it's just going to end up tearing. So if you come into your corners and make small relief cuts, that will let this inner piece roll in like so, and then these corners can wrap around. You'll be left with a little notch, but that's not a big deal. And then it won't fight you nearly as much, and you can get it up in the corners really tight. Now to do that one. Well, we've just about got it wrapped up. We're pretty well 100% coverage on the floor. I'll still have to do the transmission tunnel cover and all that. Can't really tell, but got most of the way up the firewall, up behind the power, or up behind the pedal assemblies, and just up underneath the column. I do still have to finish out this corner back here, and that will wrap that up. And then we can start laying down the Luxury Liner Pro, which is going to be our sound absorber for the floor, the back wall, and the firewall. But yeah, I'm running out of steam. We are closing in on 1:30 in the morning again, and I don't know. I'm beat, so I'm probably gonna wrap up tonight for now, and I'll bring you back out here in the morning, and we'll get started on the Luxury Liner Pro. Now, I'm probably not going to have time to get everything done this weekend, but that's okay. As long as I get the floor done, I can get the driver's seat back in it, and the truck will be drivable again. I did just pick up my new front drive shaft from the driveline shop, so it can go in the truck. Truck will be four-wheel drive again for the, well, first time since I've owned it. But yeah, it is coming along, and I think it is going to make a huge difference in how this truck sounds, and just overall comfort in the cab. I think it's also really going to help insulate the cab, so the AC is not going to have to work nearly as hard, the heat's not going to have to work nearly as hard. We're going to keep a lot of the exhaust heat and road noise and everything out, which is just going to be a huge benefit. I'm also thinking, I didn't get the material, but I think I may, before I put all the interior pieces back in, pull the headliner down and see about lining the roof as well. I'll definitely have to order more material if I go that route. And I'm not overly worried about sound deadening up there, but more so just heat. I could cheap out and use some foam board or something like that, just some insulation to stuff up there. But I don't know, we'll see. But anywho, I'm calling it a night. We'll see y'all in the morning. Well, it's a new day. I'm back out in the shop, and we're gonna try and get most of this sound deadening job wrapped up today. So what we're working on right now is the Luxury Liner Pro. This stuff is extremely dense, and yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to work with. But foam, there's a foam back with a really heavy vinyl layer. Vinyl layer goes up, foam layer goes down. So I'm going to work this into place. I'm going to try to keep it as single sheets or as big as I can, but I'm going to work it up into place, make sure it fits around everything, make sure it's not buckling up too much and things like that. But then we'll be using Second Skin's super sticky double-sided tape to attach it to our Damplifier Pro layer. We'll see how it works. I have never worked with the Luxury Liner before, so this is going to be a first for me. So I'll fiddle around with it for a little bit, see how I like how it lays out, see if I need to make any changes or what have you to get it the way I want it, and we'll go from there. Now, just taking my time with a fresh razor blade, cutting around everything that I need to get it around. On the bends, I've made relief cuts so the material can tuck down into the corners like it should. I'll probably come back and V-cut this out so the edges will lay smooth together. And I got it up here, cut around the throttle pedal, around the e-brake cable pass-through, and partially up the firewall, around the dimmer switch. So now I'm going to pull this sheet back out, and we're going to see how this double-sided tape works. I've not used this before, not this brand anyways, so I'm not really sure what to expect. I don't know if it's thick stuff. No, it's actually pretty thin stuff. But supposedly, based on everything I've read, this stuff works really well. So we'll see. I'm going to pull this sheet back out. I'm going to heat up the floor a little bit with the heat gun, and then I'm going to apply the double-sided tape to the floor, work this sheet back in, get it laid down all the way up to, say, here. Then I'll be able to roll the back side of it up and lay the tape down and work it down as we go, keeping it tight to the floor as I can because I don't really want it bunched up under the carpet. But yeah, we'll see how it works. So we've got several pieces of the double-sided tape up in place. I haven't peeled the backing off of it yet though, but it is extremely sticky stuff. So I think what's going to be the best option, instead of leaving this this piece whole, I think I'm going to go on and cut it across here, mainly because I don't know that once I get the backing off all this stuff, I'll be able to slide the whole sheet up under the pedals and keep it off of the sticky until I get it in position. So yeah, I think smaller pieces will be best working over here. On the passenger side, it should be a lot easier because I don't have to fight the pedals. I can roll the thing up either direction. But yeah, I'm going to cut this up. I'll work it into place, see how it lays, and bring it back. This tape is some impressive stuff. As you can see, you might be able to see, it contoured this thick foam vinyl to the floor of the firewall. Let me contour it down and around everything, and it is stuck. Like, yeah, you don't want to... I could force it back up and probably tear the foam off the back of the media, but I don't want to do that. Yeah, that stuff is solid. So I'm going to go on and come over here, cut this little edge off so this piece can lay flat, and then we will work our way back. Also a note, all the little scrap pieces I'm cutting to get around things, I'm just piling up and I'm going to hang on to them because they will be really nice for stuffing up in tight spaces and working around small things. So yeah, don't throw away any of this material, because any amount of material that's attached to the metal is just that much more deadening. So don't throw any of it away. Use it. Doesn't matter how small it is. Now obviously if it's little slivers, stuff like that, yeah, that's trash. But even this little cube, I'm going to use it somewhere. The first full piece is down. It looks bumped up and everything else. That is because that's the sheet metal shape under the floor. The tape really allowed this to contour well. Nothing's loose, everything is stuck really tight. So yeah, I will come back more than likely and tape these seams with foil tape or something along those lines, but we'll see. Next up, I'm going to go on and jump over and do the passenger side floor pan, and then we'll work our way back. It's the same process over and over, so I'm not going to just keep recording, cutting, and placing. So I'll bring you back when I get the next side done. Passenger side floor is done, so now I'm going to try to do a big single sheet right behind where these sheets ended. I'll have to cut a piece to go in here between the two. That's fine. It is rather balmy outside. You know, a solid 20 degrees. So yeah, I've got the truck closed up and a space heater going in the corner. And I tell you, the more insulation I add to this thing, the cozier it gets. So anywho, I'm gonna keep working and see how far we get. The goal this weekend anyways, I've got to get the carpet and driver seat back in it. So the floor has to be done by tonight. So we'll see. Well, we've got the floor and back wall done. I've got some little pieces to cut and fill in around the tunnel, and some pieces I'm going to put on the transmission cover. Then the carpet can, well, then I'm going to go on and tape all these seams, put the carpet back in, put the driver's seat back in, and yeah, then we should be drivable again. But I have been out here all day, and I need to go in and spend some time with the family. So I'm going to knock this off here for now. I'll bring you back out later tonight, and we'll see if we can get this thing wrapped up. So we've got our Luxury Liner Pro down. Firewall, floor, back wall is, I'd say, 99% coverage. Is it perfect? No, but it is what it is, and we're going to go with it. I do not have the butyl tape I thought I did to tape the seams, so at this point I can't get any right now. So I'm going to go on and put the carpet back in it and hope for the best. And if it becomes a problem, the driver's seat's going to be the only thing in place for a little while. So I can still roll the carpet back and tape the seams if I need to. There's only going to be one seam under the seat, and that is this one right here, which I could probably still get to it if I absolutely had to. So not overly worried about it. With that said, we're going to try and get the carpet in, work it around everything, and then I will be adding some to this cover, which I believe this cover is, no, it is not. I thought the cover was insulated on the bottom. It is not, so I'm going to clean this cover up as best I can. We'll put a little down the sides, maybe some on the top, and I'm debating on putting my valve plate on now. Not sure if I'm going to do that. It is getting late and I'm running out of time. I need this truck drivable tonight. So yeah, I don't know if I'll have time to do that or not, but I'll go on, throw the carpet in, and go from there. So we've got the carpet back in, seats back in, all the shifters and stuff are hooked up. I do not have the transfer case linkage hooked up yet. I did get my new front drive shaft put in, so that's cool. But yeah, I'm calling it a night because yet again, it is 1:30 in the morning. And I've got to be up fairly early. So tomorrow, maybe tomorrow afternoon, we will come back out, finish cleaning things up, see if I can get the transfer case linkage hooked up, and have this thing four-wheel drive for the first time since I've owned it. Now that the front end's been rebuilt and re-geared to match the rear. But yeah, I am really interested to see just how much of a difference all of this work has made. But yeah, I've got some cleanup and some fitment to do in the back because I added some bracing to the corners that isn't like factory, so I'm gonna have to cut the carpet around it. But yeah, should pretty well be able to wrap this up tomorrow, have it drivable, because I don't have time tonight, and there's not a lot to finish up really, just some piddly stuff. So anywho, I'll probably not video much tomorrow, but come time to test drive it and see how much of a difference all this work has made, I will bring you back and we'll see what happens. Because yeah, considering the work, I certainly hope it is worth it, and I really think it will be, but we'll find out soon. So we're back in the truck, and as you can see, I've got the carpet back in. I don't have the carpet on the back wall yet. Got the driver's seat in, and we're going to do some testing now with just the firewall, floor, and back wall done. So let me turn the radio down here. We're just sitting at an idle. Again, you can see the doors. The doors aren't even done yet, and I did go on and pull the trigger on ordering parts to do the roof as well. But that's going to be a separate video. But we're going to break this down and kind of see how this progresses. But for now, we're going to take it for a quick drive and see what kind of readings we get. So yeah, so far, to the ear, it is substantially quieter in the cab. Especially at idle, obviously with the exhaust stack and not having the doors, not having the seats and everything to kind of absorb more noise, it is still, it's not quiet in the cab by any means, but is a lot more tolerable. And we're not anywhere near done yet. Still got to do the doors, get the door panels back on, get the headliner pulled down, and get it done, and then we'll see the real difference. But yeah, I'm going to get the shop opened up, get the truck inside, because it is the weekend yet again. And I'm going to try to get some of this buttoned up. But we'll see what happens. I'm working on the passenger side door now, trying to get it finished up. You see, we got the Damplifier layer on. We had that on already. Now we're working on the MegaZorbe foam. And I'm layering it as close as I can. I'll probably come in here, cut some strips and fill in. I want to get as close to 100% coverage as possible. I gotta come over here and do this cavity too. But what this is gonna do is, instead of this inside of this door echoing like it does, the foam will absorb the noise and it won't echo anymore. And it won't transmit noise into the cab. So I think it's going to make a pretty big difference. But we'll see. There's absolutely no sound deadening in these doors from the factory. So yeah, it should make a pretty big improvement over what we've already got. Once I get this door done, I'm going to go on, move to the driver's side door, and work my way around. I'm not going to have time, or well, I'm not going to put the the door panels back on yet, because I want to get the truck over to the tint shop here in the next week or so, hopefully, and get the windows tinted. Either that or I'm going to do it myself, but we'll see. Anywho, I'm gonna keep at it. We've got near 100% coverage in the door cavity, and that is the goal. That should be just about as good as we can get as far as that goes. So I'm gonna go on and work on the other 3 doors, and yeah, we'll see how much of a difference it really makes. Well, a few days have gone by, and now we have all 4 doors fully lined. We've got 100% coverage with Damplifier Pro and 100% coverage with the foam. And the question is, does it make a difference? Before, during our tests, the only door we had done anything to was the passenger side front, which we had the Damplifier Pro on. But now we've got it done to all 4. And the MegaZorbe foam. And I tell you what, there's definitely no more rattling and such in the doors. Definitely sounds a lot more solid when you close the doors. But did it make a difference on the meter? Well, as of right now, you'll have to wait until next time to find out. This video's gone on pretty long, so I figure we'll just wait on the results until next time. With that said, if you got any comments, questions, complaints, drop them in the comment section below. If you would, hit that thumbs up button. It helps us out quite a bit. It doesn't cost you anything. If you want to support the channel, we got a PayPal account set up. Link to that's in the video description, or you can visit the websites www.notsograndgarage.com. I'll have links to the products used in this video and all that in the video description as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We appreciate you watching.